Hey, Social Cam. It is, I don't even know what today is. I think it's February 4th. And it's been a minute since I've made a video, but I wanted to make this video today because I need for you all to understand that as an introvert, when I asked for my space, just give it to me. It doesn't mean that I'm depressed, and it doesn't mean that anything's wrong or that you've done anything wrong. It just means that I need to be by myself, not to talk, not to, none of that. Like, I just need to be alone. And only other introverts will understand that. I understand that there's nothing wrong with it, but a lot of people seem to think that there is, for whatever reason. Not that I really care what other people think about the choices that I make, but I think it's necessary to say that as a person who is introverted, I'd rather be alone with a book or a pen and a journal or a computer and a keyboard or anything that allows me to write my feelings out, to escape the world and go into some fantasy or to just not speak at all. Like, solitude is one of the best things ever, and if you don't understand that, I can't really help you. The only thing that I can say is that trying to force me into a conversation when I don't feel like talking will only upset me. And it'll either do one of two things. It will make me want to yell and scream and go off and say mean things until you leave my space and leave me alone, or it will make me further retreat into myself and just treat you as if you don't exist. Neither of which are good things, but you know, I guess it's really hard when people try to make you do something that you just don't want to do. And it doesn't mean that anything is wrong. I think a lot of people need to get that, you know. So I found this article that's called 12 Tips to Better Care for an Introvert. And I think a lot of these tips are really good. Like, they're really interesting. The first one says respect their need for privacy. It's not really a hard thing to do. Not at all. If someone asks you to respect their space, simply respect their space. It's just like you put your hands on someone's stuff and they ask you to stop and you don't, and then you wonder why they're upset. The second one says never embarrass them in public. Let them observe first in new situations. Give them time to think. Don't demand instant answers. If you ask me a question and I don't answer you right away, it's not because I didn't hear you. It's not because I didn't hear you. It's because I choose not to answer you right away. And if you keep repeating the question to me, you probably will never get an answer. Number 5 says don't interrupt them. Makes me want to shut down even more. If you interrupt me when I'm speaking, conversation will cease. Give them advance notice of expected changes in their lives. Absolutely. 7 is give them 15-minute warnings to finish whatever they're doing. 8, reprimand them privately. 9, teach them new skills privately. 10, enable them to find one best friend who has similar interests and abilities. 11, don't push them to make lots of friends. 12, respect their introversion. Don't try to remake them into extroverts. Really good advice. And I think that a lot of people mistake me for an extrovert because I know how to be social in social situations. I just choose not to most of the time. Like, you'll see me and I'll be alone. I'm not the type of person who has an issue with going to dinner by myself or going to the movies by myself or anything like that. In fact, I crave those alone moments. And I usually only spend time with those people who are closest to me. Like, I know a lot of people. I know a whole lot of people, but I don't have a lot of friends. If that makes any sense to you guys. Like, I have a lot of acquaintances, but I don't make the mistake of calling everybody friends. I just don't. I never have. And I'd rather spend time with the people who are closest to me. I don't like large crowds. They make me nervous. I have really bad anxiety in situations where there are lots and lots and lots and lots of people. But I realize that this is something that I have to deal with because I just live in the world. What else? I think the biggest thing for me as an introvert is to understand that if I need to take time to myself, it may last a few minutes, it may last a few days, it may last a few weeks, it may last a month, but it doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong, and it doesn't mean that I no longer love you or I no longer care or anything like that. It simply means that I need to be by myself. And if that's the case, just let me be. I'll come around. Promise I will. I just need to be by myself. My kids understand that. Like, they understand. Mom needs to be alone right now, you know, so they don't bother me unless something is absolutely an emergency or unless they need something that they can't get on their own. Which is cool because my kids are not little kids, so they can do things for themselves and they don't have to bother me a lot of times. And if Jaden needs something, then he has a 16-year-old brother that he can go, hey, you know what, can you get XYZ for me? And it works for us. You know, it's like somebody asked me, how do I expect to have a man if I don't want to talk? Well, I expect him to understand that there will be times when Sarah just doesn't want to be bothered. Nothing wrong with that. And if you can't understand it, then he's not the one for me. It's really that simple. But this video is getting to be kind of long. Didn't realize that I really had that much to say. Oh. Another thing. I hate small talk. Oh my God. Just death to small talk. Really. Death to small talk. If you just want to talk about the weather, I'm the wrong person to have that conversation with. Because I feel like, you know what? What am I learning from this conversation? Absolutely nothing. And for that reason, I don't want to have it. If I'm not learning anything, if there's no exchange of information going on, then I usually don't want to have the conversation. But I will make the compromise for people who are closest to me because I realize that what may not be important to me may be important to them. And so I listen a lot of times, you know. I'm a great listener. Great listener. But yep, that's the gist. That is how you deal with this introvert. Leave me to my space. And when I've had enough alone time, then I'll come back around. And if you can't understand that or accept that about me, then I guess, I don't know, maybe we just don't need to be friends or whatever. It's really that simple. Yeah, if you're in my space, respect my space. It's just simple as that. I don't owe you an explanation as to why I don't want to talk. I don't owe you an explanation as to why I want to be by myself. I just do. Simple as that. There's really nothing to explain. But anyway, my lovelies, have a wonderful rest of your snow day. And stay safe, stay warm. Later.